Welcome to another exciting episode of the OrganizedPreneur Podcast. And this is where I help female entrepreneurs to get organized, get leads, and get heard. Not in that order. Get organized, get heard, and get leads, all right? Using my launch, host, and grow method. I am your host, Aldreama Harper. And today we're talking about something very important that every entrepreneur should know right now, especially if you want to get organized, to get heard, or get leads. So today I'm going to be talking about the ins and outs of running a successful podcast. Okay, the ins and outs of running a successful podcast. Have you ever wondered what does it actually looks like? What does it actually look like to launch a successful podcast? Well, I'm going to answer that right now. Number one, it depends on what you consider to be a successful podcast, okay? And let me tell you, it's not about all the downloads, right? And it's not about all the followers, okay? We'll talk about that in just a moment. But what does it look like to actually run a successful podcast? Have you ever wondered that? Because here is the truth. The truth is this: podcasting really isn't hard. Being unorganized in your podcast is hard. That's what makes it hard. Okay. Now, this is something that I get these questions, these type of questions all the time. And here's what I will say, and that is that when you are unorganized in any of your endeavors, it's going to be harder. It's just that simple. Okay. And it's where a lot of people struggle, particularly in this online space, because there are a lot of moving parts, right? There's a lot of moving parts. And so what it does take, or what it does not take, let me just say that, what it does not take, it doesn't start with talent. I'm not the most talented person in the world. Okay. It's not just about your ideas. You have ideas too. Okay. And it's certainly not with just passion. Now it's going to take a little bit of all of those, kind of like, making gumbo. It takes a lot of ingredients, right? But when it comes to the ins and outs, the behind the scenes structure that makes a podcast consistent, sustainable, and strategic, that's what it takes. It takes structure. It takes strategy, and it takes sustainability. Like, how do you maintain this thing, right? Because if you don't start out on the right foot, if you don't start out with some type of structure or some type of foundation, then you're going to be all over the place. It's like when you start a business, you're going to be all over the place. So hopefully, if this is you and any of that resonated with you, then you're in the right place, particularly if you're a female entrepreneur, if you have a service-based business, if you are a coach or a consultant and you're working, in your business, you already have a business and you're online and you're just trying to get some visibility with a podcast, okay, then you are absolutely in the right place. Okay. But first, I want you to imagine something. I want you to finally decide to start your podcast. I want you to think about this. Okay, you finally decided rather to start your podcast. Okay? You outline your ideas, you record your episode even, you upload it, you publish it, all of the things, right? Doesn't take that much to do that. You feel amazing about it. And then reality sets in. You're like, okay, what do I talk about next? How do I stay consistent? Now you may not even be thinking about how do I stay consistent. Like, I wished I had thought about that when I launched my first podcast, right? How do I actually grow this thing? I didn't even think about that. You know why? Because I didn't have a strategy. I just liked podcasting. I didn't think about questions like, well, what should my system look like? I didn't think about that. And so when you launch a podcast, you want to think about these things. Like, what do I talk about next? How do I stay consistent? Do I even need a script? How do I grow this thing? What kind of system should I have? I promise you, I did not think about that. And guess what? On my first podcast that I launched back in 2013, 13 episodes, I think. 13 episodes. And I stopped. I quit because I didn't know where else to go, right? Because podcasters who succeed, they keep going because they have one thing in common. They have a framework. And having a framework is a part of having a strategy. It's a part of having a system. It's a part of sustainability, all of those things. Okay. So let's talk about the real ins and outs of a successful podcast, because what I'm going to be sharing with you now this is what every thriving podcast has behind the scene. Okay. I hope you're ready, because get out your pen and paper. Okay. Number one, they have clarity. If you don't know who you're talking to, if you don't know what problem you solve, if you don't know what transformation you offer, it's not going, if you're not clear about that, you're not going anywhere. That was my problem. Okay, back in 2013. I was not clear on those things. And here's the thing, it's clarity that turns your content into connection, being clear about those things. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, consistency, not perfection, consistency, showing up, even imperfectly, show up. That's what builds trust faster, even faster than any editing tool. If you show up imperfectly, and I don't want you to be consistently imperfect, because my point is, over time, it's going to get better. That's one of the reasons why I decided to do these live, because I wanted to get better at going live. I used to always just record my podcast. I would always do audios, and I didn't want to do lives because I didn't particularly like being on camera. I'm really an introvert, but I realized that for me to grow in this space, I need to try something that's going to stretch me just a little bit and just start imperfectly. Okay. So it's not imperfection. It's not perfection. It's consistency and showing up even if it's imperfect, because you're never going to reach perfection. Okay. But eventually you're just going to get better and better and better. All right. So number two is consistency. Number three, a simple, repeatable workflow. Okay. A simple, repeatable workflow. Podcasting becomes hard only when the workflow is chaotic. How about that? Successful podcasters use content buckets, templates, scheduling, batching episodes, and a clear weekly rhythm. Okay. Not perfection again, but you have a content bucket because you've thought about, number one, clarity, right? And number two, consistency. You've thought about those things. And so when you think about those things and you build a foundation for your podcast, then you're going to be able to create a repeatable workflow, and you're going to have a better content buckets. Okay. Templates, scheduling, all of those things. All right. So number three is a simple, repeatable workflow. Number four, a listener-centered approach. Once again, if you don't know, and if you're not clear, rather, on who you're talking to and what transformation that you provide, then it's going to be a problem, because people tune in because they want to hear more. They want to hear about the transformation that you offer, particularly if you're launching a podcast that connects with your business. Okay, when it connects with your business, then you can create a listener-centered approach for those you're wanting to serve. And so the thing you have to remember is that with your listener-centered approach is that it's not about you. Like my podcast is not about me. It's about you, the person that's listening. Okay. And so even when I create my podcast episodes, I'm always thinking about the listener. I'm always thinking about the transformation that I can help my listener get to that transformation. Okay. And when your episodes speak directly to that person, then that person stays. They will stay. They will sign up, right? They'll subscribe to your podcast. They'll lean in. They'll stay tuned for the next one. All of you that's on here probably have someone that's either listening to you, an audience. I don't care if it's just one person. You got to start somewhere, right? So when your episode speaks directly to that person, they're going to lean in. They're going to stay. Lastly, you need to have a clear CTA, which is a call to action. Every episode needs a call to action. You got to tell the person what to do next. And even if it's just stay tuned for the next episode. Stay tuned for the next episode. I'm going to be talking about XYZ 123, whatever that is, right? Have a clear call to action. And your call to action is what transforms your podcast from not just content, but a client generation or a client generating platform. So this is what the launch, host, and grow method is all about. You launch a podcast, you host events, and you grow your business. That's what it's all about. And it's not just, keep in mind, you're not just launching a podcast. Okay. Let me kind of break that down a little bit because it's an ecosystem. This is what grows your business. And don't look at your podcast as, number one, don't look at it just as a podcast, right? Look at it as an ecosystem that helps get people to your business. It's a system. So launching, let me just break down those pieces when I told you launch, host, and grow. So you launch a podcast. Your podcast is what gives you visibility, credibility, and authority and trust. Right? This is where you share your frameworks. This is where you share, how you can help your listener to transform their life or their business or whatever it is whatever transformation you have for them that you can provide to them. And your podcast is a platform that your ideal client will eagerly listen if they feel like that's what they're going to get from your podcast. Okay. Remember this, launching a podcast is not the goal. It's the gateway. It's the gateway. A lot of people, when they think about launching a podcast, it's like, oh, I just want to launch a podcast so that I can grow my business. No, the podcast is the gateway. It's not the goal. It's not the end all. Okay. It's just one intricate piece of the ecosystem. Okay. All right. Launch a podcast, host events. This is where your podcast has warmed your audience, but hosting in your events activates them because now they get to know you, right? Because your event, particularly whether it's virtual or in person or a hybrid event, this is what helps to build community. So one of the things that I do is I have virtual events all month long, right? I do 5-day challenges. I do master classes. I do networking events. Okay. This is how I build community. This is how I generate leads. This is how I create transformation. This is how I deepen the relationships with the people that I want to serve. This is even how I enroll clients and grow my revenue. This is how it works, right? So your podcast episodes brings people in, your events moves them forward. Okay. And when that is combined, then that's how you create the momentum. Lastly, grow your business. Okay. Podcasting plus events equals business growth. Okay. This is where you introduce your offers. This is where you increase your conversions. This is where you sell your services, not pressure, not salesy, but this is where you sell your services and build sustainable business model because it is a complete business model. And the launch, host, and grow method is not about doing more, but it's about doing the right thing in the right order with the right system. And this is what I believe that most podcasters get wrong. They overcomplicate the process. There are a lot of moving parts, but that doesn't mean you have to overcomplicate the process. You create episodes without the listener in mind, like I did. That's what I did. Trying to sound perfect. Listen, I'm saying this because how is it, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, the mug, and the cap? Excuse me, right? So you really want to do the things that's going to cause your business to grow and be consistent. Most podcasters get that wrong, right? Ignoring consistency, not using call to actions or CDC, not integrating your podcast into your business and misunderstanding the fact that the podcast is not the business. The podcast is the gateway. Okay. So I hope you got that. You don't really need more time. You need more systems. You need a system to help you maximize that time. The thing is, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about this, casting isn't successful because you do a lot. It's successful because you do the right things with intention. Okay. And in order to do that, you need clarity, consistency, a workflow, a simple system, and a listener-centered strategy. That's it. And so that is what the LHG method is all about. The launch, host, and grow method is all about. It's when your message is powerful, your voice is needed, it's heard. And when you understand that your podcast is a part of your calling, then you can have a successful podcast because your perspective is different. Your view is different. Your message is powerful. Your voice is authentic. Now, if any of this struck a chord with you, then I invite you to get on a complimentary strategy call with me. The link will be below because this is what I will cover in the session. It's a short session. You walk away with a strategy if that's all you want. If you're interested in knowing more about the launch, host, and grow methodology, we will talk about that and how you can be a part of that and create an ecosystem that helps you to grow your business. Your podcast is just the beginning. But your business growth is the destination because when you change your perspective and you offer the transformation by growing an audience with the listener in mind, then that's how you grow your business. That's what happens. Okay. So I want to leave you with a scripture. And today's scripture is Proverbs 16:3, and it says, "Commit your works unto the Lord, and your thoughts shall be established." I hope that today's episode resonated with you. And if you're interested, again, the link will be in the show notes where you can jump on a call with me to learn more about the launch, host, and grow methodology. All right. I look forward to chatting with you soon. I look forward to talking with you on the next episode of the OrganizedPreneur Podcast. Have an amazing day.